8th grade, quiz 14. Directions. Read the passage below and answer the questions that follow. In Celeste's heart. Celeste is a young girl attending school in Argentina. Read the passages about her experience in school and answer the questions that follow. Remember, you should probably look at the questions before you take the quiz. That way you know what to annotate for. Celeste's heart. Celeste went to a school that had 2 yards. In the front yard, they held official ceremonies. In the backyard, the teacher made them stand in line, one behind the other at arm's distance, keeping the arms stretched out straight in front, the bodies weight on both legs, and in silence. 1 whole hour. 1 for 2 whole hours. All right, not hours, but 2 breaks passed, and the bell rang 4 times before they were allowed back into the classroom. And the girls from the other classes, who played and laughed during the first break as if nothing had happened, stopped playing during the second break. They stood with their backs to the wall and watched them. They watched in that straight line, one behind the other at arm's length, in the middle of the schoolyard, and no one laughed. And when the teacher clapped her hands to indicate that the punishment was over, Celeste was the only one who didn't stretch, who didn't complain, who didn't rub her arm, who didn't march smartly back into the classroom. When they sat down, she stared quietly at the teacher. She stared at her in the same way she used to stare at the new words on the blackboard, and the ones whose meaning she didn't know, whose exact purpose she ignored. That evening, as she was putting her younger brother to bed, he asked once again, "When am I going to go to school?" But that evening she didn't laugh, and she didn't think up an answer. She sat down and hugged him for a while, as she used to do every time she realized how little he was, how little he knew. And she hugged him harder because she suddenly imagined him in the middle of the schoolyard, with his arms stretched out, measuring the distance, the body tense, feeling cold and angry and afraid, in a line in which all the others were as small as he was. And the next time the teacher got mad at the class, Celeste knew what she had to do. She didn't lift her arm. The teacher repeated the order, looking at her somewhat surprised. But Celeste wouldn't lift her arm. The teacher came up to her and asked her, almost with concern, what was the matter. And Celeste told her. She told her that afterward the arm hurt, and that they were all cold and afraid, and that one didn't go to school to be hurt, cold, and afraid. Celeste couldn't hear herself, but she could see her teacher's face as she spoke, and it seemed like a strange face, a terribly strange face. And her friends told her afterwards that she had spoken in a very loud voice, not shouting, just a very loud voice, like when she recited a poem full of big words, standing on a platform in the school's front yard, like when one knows one is taking part in a solemn ceremony, important things are spoken of, things that happened a long time ago, but things one remembers because they made the world a better place to live than it was before. And almost every girl in the class put her arm down, and they walked back into the classroom, and the teacher wrote a note in red ink in Celeste's exercise book. And when her father asked her what she had done, and she told him, her father stood there staring at her for a long while, but as if he couldn't see her, as if he were staring at something inside her or beyond her. And then he smiled and signed the book without saying anything. While she blotted his signature with blotting paper, he patted her head very gently, as if Celeste's head were something very, very fragile, that a heavy hand could break. That night, Celeste couldn't sleep because of an odd feeling inside her, a feeling that had started when she had refused to lift her arm, standing with the others in line, a feeling of something growing inside her breast. It burned a bit, but it wasn't painful. And she thought that if one's arms and legs and other parts of one's body grew, the things inside had to grow too. And yet legs and arms grow without one being aware, evenly and bit by bit. But the heart probably grows like this, by jumps. And she thought it seemed like a logical thing. The heart grows when one does something one hasn't done before. And when one learns something one didn't know before. When one feels something different and better for the first time. And the odd sensation felt good. And she promised herself that her heart would keep growing and growing and growing. 1. In Celeste's heart, what is the most likely reason paragraph 4 is a single sentence? A, to highlight Celeste's thought. B, to emphasize Celeste's action. C, to suggest Celeste's immaturity. D, to reveal Celeste's disappointment. 2. In paragraph 5 of Celeste's Heart, what does the teacher's reaction to Celeste mainly reveal about the teacher? A, she is annoyed that Celeste is arguing. B, she is worried that Celeste is feeling sick. C, she does not want to punish Celeste again. D, she does not expect Celeste to behave in this way. 3. Based on paragraph 6 and 7 of Celeste's Heart, how do Celeste's classmates most likely feel after her speech? A, fearful. B, amused. C, confused. D, appreciative. 4. Read the description from paragraph 7 of Celeste's Heart in the box below. And then he smiled and signed the book without saying anything. What do the father's actions in the description mainly represent? A, his loyalty. B, his strength. C, his approval. D, his gratitude. 5. According to paragraph 8 of Celeste's Heart, what causes the heart to grow? A, the love of a person has. B, the people a person meets. C, the choices a person makes. D, the guidance a person receives. 6. What is the theme in the story Celeste's Heart? Use 2 details from the text to support your answer. Remember, it is just like an exit ticket. Claim, evidence, explanation, conclusion.